Hi, welcome along to Kenshukai Karate. My name is Sensei Dimitri.
Hi, I'm Sensei Shuto.
Hi, I'm Sensei Dave.
Hi, I'm Sensei Victor.
Shuto Uke, knife hand block.
There are three parts of the Shuto Uke knife hand block. They are the striking arm, the return arm, and the hips. The striking arm. Bring the palm of the striking hand to the opposite ear. Keeping the same shape of the arm, drop the arm down so that the elbow makes contact with the body and the palm is shoulder height. The fingers will be above shoulder height. Continue to move the forearm across until in line with the shoulder. Keeping the fingers straight and tense, quickly turn the wrists as far around as possible, producing the outside edge, Shuto, at an angle. The return arm. In preparation for the block, the return arm is pushed forward to finish with palm facing downwards and the fingers pointing forwards. The arm is level with the shoulder and in line with the chin. The arm is then pulled back as if executing an elbow strike behind. The open hand is turned just before contact with the body to finish palm side up with the wrist straight. The arm is horizontal with a gap between the elbow and the body, with the middle of the open hand being on the body's center line. The hips. When the hands move up to prepare to execute the block, the hips remain in the original position. At the start of the next stage of the technique, the return arm's side of the body begins to be pulled back with the feet remaining in the original position. The pullback is to facilitate the grabbing of the attacker's limb and pulling it back whilst moving the body out of the way. The shoulders stay over the hip as it is pulled back. When learning the technique, practice the striking arm and hips together with the opposite arm by the side of the body. Then the return arm and the hips together with the other arm by the side of the body. Practice slowly, medium pace, and hard and fast on each side. Then practice the whole technique, slow, medium pace, and hard and fast. The aim is for all stages to come to a complete stop at the end of the technique. This is assisted by breathing in before executing the technique and breathing out when executing the technique. Kokutsu Dachi. Back leaning stance. This is a high-grade stance found in katas such as Basadai, MP, and Kankadai. The stance is made by turning the back foot 90 degrees to the front foot and placing it on an imaginary straight line that is in line with the front foot. The heel of the back foot touches the inside of the line and the inside edge of the front foot touches the outside of the line. The heels are 2 shoulder widths apart. This is the shoulder width of the karateka executing the stance and is therefore different for each karateka. 2/3 of the weight is on the back leg with 1/3 of the weight on the front leg. The front knee is unlocked, the hips are level, and the body is upright. There are 3 popular methods of moving forward in the stance. Each method seeks to maintain stability during the transition by keeping the transitioning foot as close to the floor as possible. Method number 1. The front foot first turns fully into the end position, whilst the back foot turns slightly to assist the turn. The back foot then steps in a straight line to the new front foot position. In the second method, the front foot is turned part of the way. The back foot is turned to assist and is then stepped in a straight line to the new front foot position. The new back foot completes the turn to the end position. In the third method, the front foot remains in the original position. The back foot turns and steps in a straight line to the new front foot position. The hips are used to turn the new back foot to the 90-degree position. Methods 1 and 2 are helpful when learning to execute this stance. The third method is more advanced and requires greater leg strength. However, it is particularly useful when executing a knife hand block and back leaning stance combination, as the pullback of one side of the body can be used in both the stance and the block execution. Moving back in the stance. First method. Place most of the weight of the body on the back foot. Draw the front foot back in a straight line. Use the momentum of the drag back to turn the original back foot into the straight position. Turn the foot being dragged back into the 90-degree position and step back into the back foot position. Second method. Place most of the weight of the body on the back foot whilst turning it part of the way to the finished position. Complete the turn to the final position with the momentum of the drag back. Use the hips at the end to turn the drag back foot into the back foot position. This method is useful when executed with a knife hand block combination. Stepping back in the stance can be quite challenging due to not being able to see where to step. One way of practicing this is to step into the stance and use a marker, such as a hand mitt or small object, in line with the back foot. Step forward in the stance, then back in the stance. Make any adjustments to ensure that the same place is being achieved. Do the same practice with the other foot. The knife hand block and back leaning stance combination is found in higher grade technique combinations and in katas. When learning this combination, it is important to ensure that both techniques are executed well. When moving in the combination, the aim is to come to a complete stop with both block and stance. The block has shorter to travel than the stance. Therefore, the block needs to be executed as late as possible. This needs to be practiced both moving forward and back to determine how late the block can be done to enable the combination to come to a complete stop. Once started, both the block and the stance needs to flow rather than pausing, waiting for the other to catch up. Once the techniques can be executed reasonably well, the added layer is the use of the hips to synchronize the block and stance finishing together. This adds sharpness to the combination. A method of doing this is to complete the combination, then retract to near the end and practice from this point to complete the combination. For example, complete the combination. Then turn the back foot straight, turn the front palm inwards, turn the palm of the stomach downwards, and turn the hips in. Then breathe out and turn all three back to the finished position when turning the hips out.
Okay, as we step forward with the knife hand block, we want to get the knife hand technique and the stance to set together. So there's a bit of intricate timing going on where the hand needs to go to the hip, to the ear, and then out. Okay, Okay, without holding the hand too long. Yeah, this is mainly for brown belts. You want to get up and then down. So you do 3 of those forward, then 1 back.
A shortened version of the back leaning stance can be used in kumite, especially when facing a taller opponent. The open-handed techniques of the knife hand block can also be used by brown belts and above to block opponents' attacks. The open-handed shooter strike and the return hand grab are not allowed in kumite. They can, however, be used in self-defense, especially when striking opponents' neck, stretching their limbs, and manipulating their head.
Okay, so I'm going inside block, grab, strike. As I strike, then I push. I can also do a strike to the neck as well with this one. Okay, but I need to be fairly quite close for this to work. I'm right here, and as I guide your head, okay, it doesn't take much for you to then just fall back.